He fired me in front of the entire executive floor, said I was replaceable. What he didn't know, the documents he forged, the board votes he manipulated, the funds he rerouted, all of it had my digital signature trail attached. And I never delete evidence. I had worked at Whitmore Global for 8 years. 8 years of quiet strategy, late nights, board reports, crisis management, damage control, and for the last 3, I was the director of corporate governance, which basically meant if something illegal happened in that building, I would know. The CEO trusted me, the board relied on me, the executives respected me. Except one person, Daniel Whitmore, the CEO's son, Harvard graduate, perfect smile, 0 experience. Unlimited ego. He'd recently been appointed executive vice president. Corporate translation? His father was preparing him to take over. But Daniel didn't want to earn power. He wanted to seize it. And I was in the way, because governance means rules, and rules slow down reckless men. The tension started small. He'd bypass approval channels, override compliance reviews, push contracts without legal clearance. Every time I'd send them back. Requires documentation, requires board transparency, requires formal vote. He hated that word, vote, because votes can fail. One afternoon he stormed into my office. "You're delaying progress," he said. "I'm protecting the company," I replied. He leaned over my desk. "You work for this company." "Yes, I am this company." And there it was, the delusion. I stayed calm. "Not yet." His jaw tightened. That was the moment he decided I had to go. 2 weeks later, an emergency executive meeting was called. Unusual. No prior briefing. No governance summary. Red flag. I walked into the conference room. Board members seated. Finance present. Daniel stood at the head of the table. Not his father. Him. He smiled when I entered. "We're restructuring," he announced. Classic corporate weapon. Restructuring can justify anything. "We've identified departments that are slowing innovation." He looked directly at me. "Corporate governance will be absorbed into executive leadership." Absorbed, meaning removed. My position eliminated, effective immediately. Silence filled the room. I glanced at the CEO. He looked uncomfortable, but silent. Daniel continued. "We thank you for your service." Just like that. 8 years erased. I gathered my folder calmly. No argument, no emotion. And that made him nervous. Because guilty people expect chaos. At the door, I paused. "Just one clarification," I said softly. "Who approved the restructuring vote?" Daniel smiled. "I did." "Wrong answer." I nodded slightly. "Interesting." And I walked out. He thought he had won. But here's what Daniel didn't understand. Governance isn't just paperwork. It's digital oversight. Every executive override, every emergency vote, every document alteration is logged. And 2 weeks before that meeting, I had noticed anomalies. Unusual board pre-approvals, timestamp irregularities, finance transfers categorized as strategic consulting. Consulting to whom? A shell firm, registered 6 months ago, owned by a proxy. But the IP address used to file incorporation documents? Whitmore Global Headquarters. Specifically, Daniel's executive office. He wasn't restructuring. He was consolidating power, redirecting capital, and attempting to weaken the board's oversight before his father retired. It wasn't just unethical. It was illegal. And he had just fired the only person who could have protected him. The next morning, I didn't file for unemployment. I didn't post emotional LinkedIn updates. I scheduled 3 meetings. One with legal, one with audit, one with Mr. Calloway, senior board director. I didn't accuse. I presented. Documentation, time logs, voting inconsistencies, shell company records, fund transfers. Calloway's face darkened with each slide. "Does the CEO know?" he asked. "I don't believe so," I replied carefully. And that was true. Daniel wasn't just seizing power, he was maneuvering behind his father's back, which made it worse. The board scheduled an internal review. Quietly, discreetly. Daniel had no idea. He was too busy enjoying his victory. I heard through former colleagues he'd already started redecorating the executive floor, removing governance files, reassigning compliance officers, positioning loyal managers. He was building his kingdom on unstable ground. 2 weeks later, the quarterly shareholder meeting arrived. Major investors present, media present, board fully seated. Daniel stood confidently at the podium, his father beside him. "We are entering a new era of leadership," Daniel announced. He was about to formally introduce his expanded authority. That's when Mr. Calloway interrupted. "Before that," he said calmly, "there's a matter requiring clarification." Daniel blinked. "What matter?" The projector screen changed. Not to Daniel's presentation, but to mine. Email chains, financial summaries, shell company ownership charts. The room shifted. Murmurs began. Daniel's smile faded. "What is this?" he demanded. Calloway spoke evenly. "An internal audit report." Daniel looked at his father. The CEO's expression was no longer proud. It was cold. "You authorized these transfers?" his father asked quietly. Daniel hesitated. "They were strategic." "Without board approval?" Silence. "And this shell firm," Mr. Calloway continued, "no relation to you?" Daniel's voice cracked slightly. "It's complicated." "No, it wasn't. It was fraud." He looked toward the back of the room and saw me standing near the wall. Not gloating, just watching. Our eyes met, and for the first time, he realized he hadn't removed the obstacle. He had activated it. The meeting adjourned abruptly. Emergency board session called. By evening, Daniel Whitmore was placed on administrative leave pending investigation. By the end of the week, his executive authority was revoked. Public statement. Temporary internal restructuring to ensure compliance integrity. Corporate translation. He tried to steal the throne and got caught. 3 days later, I received a call from the CEO himself. "I should have listened to you," he said. I remained neutral. "I trusted him," he continued. "He's my son." "And this is your company," I replied. Long silence. "I can't undo what he did," he said quietly. "But I can correct what I did." He offered reinstatement, not as director, as chief compliance officer. Board-level authority. Protected reporting line. I considered it. Not for revenge, but for control. "I'll accept," I said, "under one condition." He waited. Governance will never again report to executive leadership. Pause. Agreed. Daniel tried to contact me once. A message. You destroyed my future. I didn't respond because he destroyed it himself. I simply documented everything, as I always do. A month later, shareholders voted to delay succession planning. Daniel's path to CEO was gone, indefinitely. And me? I returned to the same building, same office floor, but different power dynamic. Executives stood when I entered meetings now, not out of fear, but awareness. Rules matter, and so does accountability. I didn't celebrate. I didn't humiliate him publicly. I didn't need to. Because real power isn't loud. It doesn't fire people to prove dominance. It waits. It records. And when necessary, it exposes. He thought firing me would silence the rules. But the truth about power? It's never illegal when you earn it. And never stable when you steal it.